They lowered the Greek flag and raised the Turkish flag. Upon hearing the news, Greek Foreign Affairs sent a helicopter to the island to verify.
Oh, hell nah, bro. What in the world? What, Turkey? What are you doing? Turkey, what? Turkey, you want NATO to freaking go to war with you? Short video here. Although this is about Turkey and Greece, usually when I make videos about Turkey, I have a lot to say, so be prepared for that. Whilst I drink this Barbadian soda, plus.
The Turkish cargo ship named Figen Akat ran aground on the Imia rocks, 4 miles off Bodrum, on December 20.
But if you're wondering what it is that I'm drinking, I did go to Orlando with my brother, and we went to a Caribbean store to buy this because there's none where I live in Jacksonville. I know it's a bit off topic, but it's the best soda ever. Like, Caribbean drink trumps anything in my opinion, especially American stuff. But let's continue.
25th, 1995, while passing through the shallow waters of the Aegean Sea. Greek authorities contacted the ship's captain and offered assistance. In response, the captain of the ship declined their offer, stating that the rocks were within Turkish territorial waters. Later on, the ship managed to extricate itself.
All right, so I know Greece and Turkey has been beefing over these islands, the Aegean Sea and the islands. Personally speaking, I used to keep track of that whole issue, but I stopped. So I don't know much about if the conflict is still going on. Do tell me what's still going on. The last time I heard about that was years ago. I think back in 2019, 2020, something like that, 2021. I heard that Greece and Turkey was at the point of going to war with each other. And I was so confused about that. And I was like, wait, these two are NATO members. How can they go to war with each other? Because wouldn't that trigger Article 5 of NATO? Whoever declares war on who? Like, because NATO is like, if you launch an offensive war, you can't trigger Article 5. You launch an offensive war and you lose that war, that's on you. NATO can't really help you. But it's a defensive alliance. Well, defensive alliance supposed to be. So I'm like, if Greece declares war on Turkey, then all NATO would have to help Turkey. And if Turkey declares war on Greece, then all of, vice versa would happen, right? All of NATO would have to help Greece. So I'm like, that doesn't make sense. Like, they can't go to war. And that's the whole freaking dilemma in this whole conflict that I never understood. They're both NATO allies. I don't think they can even do, and that's the funny part about it. Now that I think about it, one of the things about NATO is you can't have a dispute. You can't have a border dispute. Now, I don't know if this includes maritime waters, but I'm pretty sure there are physical islands that Turkey claims. Unless I misunderstood that part of NATO. But NATO, you can't have an active border dispute going on, I'm pretty sure. Otherwise, you can't be allowed. So I don't really know how these two countries even were allowed in of NATO. I think it's like you can't have maybe it's like physically like a war, like kind of a conflict going on, not like a war, but like, let's say a country is occupying a certain part of a country that claims it's theirs. Like what happened with Crimea when Russia annexed Crimea, but Ukraine still claimed it. Ukraine couldn't join NATO because of that, right? But then again, I don't think Turkey is occupying any islands that it's claiming, really and truly. Anyways, let's continue.
from the accident site using its own means. On January 20th, 1996, accompanied by a Greek priest and the mayor of Kalymnos, a Greek mayor hoisted the Greek flag and sang the Greek national anthem on the eastern Imia rocks. Turkey and Greece diplomatically protested each other, asserting that the island belonged to themselves. On January 27th, Turkish journalists landed on the island by helicopter, lowered the Greek flag, and raised the Turkish flag.
Yeah, no. Yeah, this is what I mean here. This is an active border dispute. Basically being no. How are these? You can't be in NATO if you have this going on. Like, it's one thing to just claim something, but when you're actually going and putting like flags and people are coming, no. What's the word to describe? Oh my gosh, I am so horrible at explaining things. But you know what I mean. You can't have this going on. No.
This prompted the Greek military to deploy troops to the rocks on January 28th, imposing a blockade. Then Prime Minister
This is so... Hold on a second. Okay, so I just went and I Googled when did Greece and Turkey join NATO, and all the way back, basically at the start of the Cold War. I mean, when did this whole conflict / border dispute in the Aegeans even began? I don't even know when this began. All I know is that Turkey and Greece are just beefing over it. But I don't think this is allowed. I'm pretty sure they could be expelled from NATO because of this. Both Greece and Turkey. Is it? I don't know. I don't know much about, because I know the requirements to join NATO, but when you're actually in, it's like, okay, what now? I don't know much about that. So maybe this is allowed once they didn't have this border dispute back then, and then it suddenly arose. I don't know, man.
Tansu Çiller emphasized Turkey's readiness for war, stating, "That flag will come down. Those soldiers will leave." On the night of January 30th, 1996, Turkish commandos arrived at a military camp in Bodrum. Under cover of darkness, 12 commandos departed from Gümüşlük in 2 boats. To distract the Greek Navy, a Turkish Sikorsky helicopter pretended to be landing troops on the frigate TCG Yavuz. The commandos successfully navigated through the Greek blockade to reach the western Imia island. There, they lowered the Greek flag and raised the Turkish flag. Upon hearing the news, Greek Foreign Affairs sent a helicopter to the island to verify.
Oh, hell nah, bro. What in the world? What, Turkey? What are you doing? Turkey, what? Turkey, you want NATO to freaking go to war with you?
The Turkish operation, but the helicopter malfunctioned. Despite the TCG Yavuz frigate granting permission for it to land, the Greek helicopter rejected assistance and subsequently crashed. Ultimately, with mediation...
Bro! What the hell? The pettiness. The pettiness, bro. The pettiness on both sides, bro.
Who's this diva?
They don't even want help. They would rather die than let the other side help them, bro. What is this? You tell me Greece and Turks hate each other that much, bro?
From the United States, both sides agreed to lower their flags and withdraw from the islands. Despite both sides claiming ownership, the islands remain disputed and are not officially recognized as belonging to either country.
Okay. So you're telling me, since they're not recognized, so if they're not recognized as belonging to anyone, someone can literally go to that place, since it's not internationally recognized to belong to anyone, and literally just start their own country, because the islands aren't recognized by anyone. It's actually quite easy to start a country. Well, on a piece of paper. The difficult part is getting people to recognize your country. If you don't have people recognizing your country, well, you're in big trouble. Kinda. It depends. If you're like Afghanistan, where the Taliban has control over the place, you know, it's like, yeah, everybody knows. Nobody just doesn't want to admit that they're the ones controlling Afghanistan. But everyone knows that, yeah, they're a legit thing. Like, legit its own country, right? The Taliban, again. But if you're a regular person who is claiming, which you could still do this, claiming a few pieces of rock like this. I wouldn't even call this an island. This is more of an islet. An islet is basically a super small, basically just a mini island. Pretty much. Mini island, yeah, is the best way. Islet. Most people don't really use that term, islet, but that's actually the proper definition, if I'm not mistaken, to describe this. But okay, that does answer a question of mine, why NATO didn't like freaking expel Greece and Turkey from this, because you cannot have this in NATO. No, you can't have a border dispute with a country to be a part of NATO. You can't. Like, that is, I know that. Like, I 100% know that. They just didn't recognize it as belonging to anybody, but they still have a dispute though. I guess that like bypasses it, because if they don't recognize it as belonging to anyone, then they can claim, both sides can claim it as theirs without running into any problems internationally. Well, not internationally, but like by NATO standards, I guess. To be honest, I don't really know where this whole conflict arises from, so I can't really say who's in the right and who's in the wrong, to be honest. Although, if I'm not mistaken, I'm pretty sure that Greece does own the Aegean Islands in the Aegean Sea. So, I don't know. Maybe Greece is in the right here. I'm like trying to imagine my rough map of Greece that I last remember. I'm pretty sure Greece unironically does own all of the Aegean Islands, so. But okay, this video was short, so you know I had to give my own original commentary in it, transform this video to, you know, drink some good old Barbadian freaking drink, you know, soda. This is so freaking good, guys. This is made of natural sugar, like actual proper sugar, not the garbage sugar that Americans freaking have in their garbage drinks, man. And it tastes so different, I'm telling you. If you ever go to Barbados, go get this. This is amazing, so freaking amazing. But anyways, man, you made it all the way here. If you enjoy me yapping, pretty much, you're new to my channel, go subscribe. Join my channel membership, guys. I have a lot of people. Not only do I have a lot of people starting to come about, you know, I got my own life going on as well. I have things to do in person, in real life. So, you know, if you have stuff that you want me to watch, any suggestions, because people tend to suggest me a lot of things, you know, if you're a channel member, your comments and suggestions will be done so much faster. There's other sub perks too, but those are the two main things that I highly recommend for active viewers, man. Like, I'm telling you, it's only 99 cents a month. Like, come on, we're all adults. You can't afford 99 cents a month. Like, come on, 99 cents a month. Like, I have some people who live in like Africa that watch me. I'm like, okay, that makes sense. I don't blame you. I'm not insulting you, but because I had a guy in my comments who was like, oh yeah, my country currently has like water problems and all that stuff. I was like, okay, yeah, I get it, bro. You don't have to tell me. So, but if you are new, make sure to turn the bell notifications and whatnot. Like the video so it stays on the algorithm. Thank you for watching and goodbye.